Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stop laughing before this countdown ends.
The Courtroom Files After Dark. The following is a presentation of TCF.
Yeah, you totally have to do that, Stinger.
Yeah, do that.
I know. We have to have a disclaimer. Viewer discretion is advised.
That just has to happen.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. In all seriousness, we were laughing up a storm for the last 5 or 10 minutes, and that was great. But we should probably be serious now because there'll be people watching, or maybe we shouldn't be serious because there'll be more.
Maybe why start now?
Good point. Well, we've got some areas where we can go tonight that maybe we can laugh and maybe not cry so much like we had to last time. Bailey.
Yeah.
A or B. No C tonight because you can't always say that it's C.
Okay.
So A or B. Do you want to start? Because we got 2 topics tonight. We can start with courtroom decorum and how it's kind of missing. Or we can talk about the types of cases that just we don't like, make us uncomfortable, our least favorite to watch, stuff like that. A or B? Where do you want to go?
We're going to go A. Definitely A. Yeah, that sounds like a fun topic.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to Sidebar. Bailey says we're going to start by talking about courtroom decorum and how it doesn't seem to exist anymore. Take it away, my friend. Lead us off. You picked it.
I didn't actually pick it. This was actually a viewer pick, right?
Well,
If I'm
no,
not
I mean
mistaken?
you picked it between A and B.
Oh, correct. Well, the topic got picked by a viewer that, hey, let's talk about decorum and how people dress. And apparently courtrooms have turned into Walmart.
That's that.
All right. Thank you very much.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I mean,
You summarized it perfectly.
Bailey really just went right for it. I think the same can be said for airplanes, too.
The funny
Yeah.
thing is, though, we've actually suggested that people just go to Walmart and buy like a cheap white T-shirt so that they
Works.
look okay.
Yeah.
Then it really
Yeah.
like would be Walmart, but yeah. All right, continue. Expand upon your Walmart theme. I'm curious now.
mean-
How many people can we offend with this one?
Well, you know, the topic, I'm glad someone brought that topic up because it actually reminded me of my mom. She was at her favorite watering hole back home, and a woman had walked in, and she was a candidate running to be city judge. And she was campaigning and just handshaking, answering questions, and hey, my name is so-and-so, and bumped into my mom, and my mom's biggest issue was people coming into court can't be dressing like they're going into Walmart. That's not okay. You need to do something about that. She's like, and she went into this whole thing. And as my mom's telling me the story, I'm like, well, Ma, like the judge doesn't really have the authority to really control like what people wear. I mean, there's certain things, but and that's exactly what the candidate had told my mom. And she told, that was relayed to me. I know, objection hearsay, double hearsay, actually. But that's a big deal. And I think why I was kind of passionate about this idea as well is because my mom raised me, obviously, and she raised me with those kinds of standards. And I agree with my mom. Like, if you're walking into court, and I agree with these judges, of course, like, if you're walking in there, like, where's the rest? Where's the other half of your pants? I love that. I love
Judge
it.
Simpson.
So, yeah.
Well, of all of the courtrooms that we see, which one do you guys think is the worst offending courtroom?
Say West. George West.
Judge West or
On
McNally.
Monday. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but
we've
McNally
deemed
doesn't
that
seem
the
to have an
fashion
issue.
show.
Yeah, McNally seems to be more he'll catch somebody walking in the background wearing a hat, walking in just to sit down. Hey,
The
take your
hat.
off.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the one that he'll enforce, but
he
the rest
really
of it, like,
enforces that, but
They walk in with a wife beater.
West and Stevens.
Yeah.
Stevens is a big thing. Like, what are
Right.
you wearing?
yeah.
Yeah.
Would you wear that to church? Oh yeah, and Judge Boyd too. She's always but she'll also compliment with thank you for dressing appropriately for court.
yeah.
But yeah, for sure. Judge McNally, and probably, well, he's the biggest offender in, other than the hat, he's the big offender in not enforcing proper courtroom dress.
Yeah.
So, do you remember a few weeks ago where Judge West had the world's best farter?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I was going to tell you guys, and I forgot. I came across it in a roundabout way, but that actually made the news.
No kidding.
Did it really?
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
local news station that clipped that. And
Jeez.
she even said afterwards, she said somebody's going to clip that. And they did.
Yeah.
Went viral over the news. Yes.
Oh, I
You know-
love that judge. Yeah.
Right. Well, like I said, it's one of those. Judge Middleton, we know, is a stickler for all of that stuff, including your Zoom name with the buttfucker 3000 Zoom person that came on, and which is still to this day top 5 favorite clip. Is you want to tell me why you're coming into my courtroom as buttfucker 3000?
The judge actually said it.
Yeah.
Oh, he did. Oh, he
Yeah.
sure did. And here's the thing about it. And then the guy was like, "Oh, he's like, it was my sister. My sister did that." Yes, okay. Throw your sister under the
Crazy
bus.
sisters.
Those crazy sisters in Buck
I'm just
3000.
thinking of the stenographer. You know, just oh god.
Court's weird
Court reporter.
sometimes.
Oh my God.
I have to so the courtroom decorum thing, and again, we talked about this before. Judge Oakley, who is up there in Michigan, he's one of those guys that definitely sometimes comes across as a stick up the butt type of guy, because he's very rules oriented. And I want to say, I like Judge Oakley is great, but he hates the Zoom stuff. He's talked about it very publicly. He's written letters about that. He's very against Zoom hearings. He wants as many things done in person as possible, and he always talks about how you can't hear anybody, and how people they treat dressing up as on Zoom as, well, kind of like what Bailey said, Walmart. I don't think he said Walmart specifically, but
Yeah.
he did basically say that. He said that, people don't take it seriously, and they should. Obviously, it's court. You treat Zoom just like you would as if you were in person. Yeah, sure. I guess you don't necessarily have to wear pants on Zoom.
People
But
have made that mistake.
yeah, that's a mistake. That's a die roll right there. You are really you're playing with fire on that one. But you definitely should have, reasonable dress. Again, maybe a button-down shirt. Maybe you don't wear the tank top or the wife beater or the world's greatest farter or the black excellence shirt, which Judge Boyd calls out, or the jersey, which Judge Stevens calls, those kinds of things. Probably don't want to wear that on Zoom, or the hat,
Yeah.
or the excessive jewelry either, which gets called out.
I was thinking about this, like, in a social kind of science way. Like, we sit here and we have these discussions about, like, how could these people possibly, And so I was trying to, like, figure that out. I was trying to wrestle with that, today. And I'm like, Bailey, people weren't brought up like you. You weren't, like, they had a completely different upbringing where it's not even going to pass their thought to consider, like, I should be wearing something other than, like, a t-shirt to court and make sure it says something. Like, it probably, all they know is, I got to go to court. Oh my God. And then it's like, okay, I'm here, Judge. And hopefully they have a good attitude. And I hate the ones that show up and they're like this. They're rolling their eyes and they're, like, wearing the worst. Like, they don't care.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
Everything about
they're
them,
doing
not
that.
only does their clothing is offensive, but their nonverbals, that drives me nuts. But I don't know if they were kind of like grown right. I think they were grown in the dark with something that was moist, and they were just left there. And then the next thing
Wow,
they know, they
moist.
get in trouble. And the first person that has any kind of accountability for these, holding accountability over these people is a judge. And we witness this. And they show up wearing ridiculous things and saying and making excuses. And judges are probably the first time they've ever been held accountable, ever.
There's probably truth to that.
That's the only way I can come up with that. Because we're rational
That would be
people.
the only reason I can come up with too, Bailey, is why they're dressing like they are. And then when, what I hate is when they speak over the judge. I really don't like that. And I guess that would go under courtroom decorum too, is speaking over the judge and doing that. That's what I hate. And if they don't address the judge in a proper manner, like they'll say like sir or ma'am. I mean, that's okay, I guess, but I still think you should say be respectful, like your honor or judge or something like that.
Yes. Yeah, we've seen a spate of that recently too, with people talking over judges, and it's one of those things. Judge Fleischer, others have said similar things like, "Hey, if you want to get into a who's is bigger contest with a judge, you're going to lose every single time. Don't do it." Unless, of course, you're a prophet of God, like we saw Judge Stevens Court the other day in a video that's on this channel. And I am.
Oh no!
To say the least, I am excited to see her appearance again.
I watched her like 3 times. I watched that video like 3 times because I was like, really? Am I watching this correctly? And I keep watching. I'm like, yeah, I did watch it correctly. It is what it is.
Did you say it? I didn't say that, but then she turns around and says, "Oh yeah, I did say that." So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of different things. Even lawyers, and it's not just litigants. That it's not just the defendants. It's the attorneys sometimes get into it too. And we've seen some attorneys get corrected of late as well on some of their decorum and some of their actions. We've seen one get into it with Judge Boyd about he thought that she was rolling her eyes or making faces,
an attitude or something like that.
And
you don't want to piss off a judge.
No, I'm not going to deal with that. No.
So now here I am. I dress properly for court. I show up. I'm respectful to the judge, but my attorney's an ass. And like what? Now I'm like, wait a minute. Oh no! I get the attorney that doesn't know how to behave.
That would suck.
The attorney that's just about to retire, and he doesn't really care anymore. He doesn't care about his bar certification.
I saw that this morning in Judge Elmore's court before we went on the morning live show. They were having just a normal hearing, and then all of a sudden this judge or this lawyer just starts raising his voice with Elmore and starts pushing back on him. And Judge Elmore's like very even keel.
Oh yeah.
Even when he's mad at a defendant, he's like even keel. He actually told the guy sternly, he's like, "Sit down and shut up."
You don't see that from Judge Elmore very often, so
that's fun.
I think that's going to be a video that shows up on this channel. I'm guessing. So spoiler alert.
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday.
Yes.
I think this
Saturday
topic
content.
really comes down to like respect for yourself and respect for the court, but in order to do that, you got to kind of be taught that in a way. Like you have to like learn to have self-respect and respect yourself enough to be like, I think when I'm going to court, I should dress up.
Yeah. I don't know if murderers really consider that when they,
Well, they're all in orange.
Yeah, they're going to be in orange, but I don't know if a lot of young people, the laymen out there are going to be understand that like what we're talking about. Like you have to have deference for the court, which means when you walk into the courthouse, you take your hat off. when you go in, you better have a, proper clothing. And I don't think a lot of people know that. And I love it when judges just give those minor corrections. Like, next time you come into court, don't do that. Don't pull Joe Pesci and, My Cousin Vinny, explain that outfit, and get found in contempt of court. And
well, you were serious about that.
Yeah, you were serious about that?
Yeah.
But and the reason why I bring this up, I kind of have a story. I actually forgot this until about an hour ago before the show. When Bailey was growing up, he wasn't the most. I didn't always follow the rules. I was a bad kid. I was like really ticked off. And,
No.
yeah. And it got so bad that my mom we were in the courthouse, and she was going to have me emancipated. And I was going to sign the documents. I was like, yep. That meant she has no more legal. She's not my mom no more. You know what I mean? Like, you are on your own. That's how bad it was. And so somebody knew somebody who knew a probation officer that they're like, let's try it this way. He volunteered his time. He's a probation officer, and he was going to be just this adult that was going to be in my life. So I was put on like kind of a fake probation. I had to report to this probation officer. And the first thing that happened when I got there was I walked in, and I remember his back was to me, and his office was stacked with papers and with real probationers. He's got a real daytime job. And here's this little pimply, probably 14, 15-year-old kid who's coming in, and I had a hat on. He's like, take off the hat when you're in my office. And I was like, God, I got to follow rules. Like, shit, I'm in trouble. And, he was going to do random visits, and he told me that. And his name, I don't remember his name. I feel bad about that, but I do remember his nickname. Of course, I never addressed him by his nickname. His nickname was Star. And he drove a huge Harley. And remember, he told me, if I come by, or if I get a phone call from your mom that you're getting in trouble and you're not following the rules, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I'm going to be stopping by your house randomly. And so we lived out in the country, long roads. And so for a mile away, you can hear this Harley coming, and I would get scared. It's the accountability guy. Like, and he'd come rolling in, and I'd be like, how you doing, sir? And that's when I learned, sir, because all that stuff. And is your mom going to tell me any bad news? No. So you didn't get in trouble? No. And he'd talk to my mom, and he'd be like, all right, keep it up. He's like, I'll be dropping by, and you got to report in next month. And I don't know how long that went, but I passed probation, so to speak. And, years later, I was in the Air Force, and I found his government email, and I emailed him. And I said, I'm doing well. Thank you for basically a short thank you. But the last thing I told him was, I understand the significance of taking your hat off when you walk into in an office. Because in the military, you remove your cover when you walk into a building, and when you walk outside, you put your cover on. And I said, I understand the significance. And I'm like almost getting emotional about it, saying it. But yeah.
What a nice guy.
What I'm saying is, like, those kinds of lessons I don't think are occurring. And so you get these people who show up in front of judges who didn't have the lessons that I had, the living experience that I have, and they look like fools.
Well, here's something that just came to mind.
There's no volunteers like that anymore either. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Something that just came to mind based on your story, and that was a great story, by the way, so thanks for sharing it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But if these people were taught the simple points of life like decorum, would they even be in the court in the first place?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Right. Exactly.
It's
the simple, basic things. It's simple, bare necessities.
How many times do we see disrespect of an officer or in things like that? If they had known what Bailey learned, then they wouldn't be having that many charges that they rack up like that. So.
And like failure to report. It's like, I reported to this fake
Oh my
probationer.
goodness.
Like, I know how to get there. I had to figure it out. And you're just like, people, there's no accountability. And
the failure to report is just such a,
it's frustrating.
I don't understand how people, of all the things, like certain things on probation, I get if you're an addict, sometimes it's hard to kick the sauce or the coke or the whatever you're on, right? So falling off the wagon is one thing, but just to not pick up the phone or not get on Zoom, I mean, you don't even have to appear in person most of the time anymore. Just to not do the absolute bare minimum is so insane to me. I don't understand. Like, you're in all you have to do, especially if you're on deferred adjudication, which means if you pass, if you get through the duration of that time period, you don't have a conviction on your record.
Right.
It's like it never happened ostensibly. Yeah. All you have to do is call. All you have to do is stay in touch. All you have to do is this bare minimum. And can't even do that? Like, okay, I
don't want to see these people at their job. Because if they can't report to court, they probably can't.
Right.
Well,
can't function at work either.
Most of them don't have jobs, as we find out.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know how people skate through life like this. It has never added up to me, and maybe this is the old man of the panel showing up now, but how is it that you can go through life just disrespecting everything and everyone around you? It seems to me like it's just too much work. I mean, that's got to be just hard work to have that much anger and that much hate and that much I could give a damn.
Right. I think it's expectations.
It's gotta be exhausting.
Expectations, and I think people, to be frank, entitlement too. I think it's expectations and entitlement combined. In my opinion.
There's some of that. Yeah, there's some of that, and some of it is also just this attitude of you can't tell me what to do. It's a childish mindset of I'm gonna do what I want. It's me. I'm gonna do what I want. You can't stop it. Who are you to tell me? Now I'm an adult. You can't. It's this weird pushback. So that's the kind of thing you hate to see that.
Like that prophet lady, like she had no idea. She had no idea how to act. It was really,
I think there's some clear mental illness there. I think there's
some narcissism there too.
I
clearly see.
She thinks she's a prophet of God. Yes, I do believe there might just be a teeny bit, just a skosh. It's very subtle. But there might just be a little bit of narcissism, yeah.
Very, very few examples in the Bible of actual prophets who raised their hand and said, "I'm a prophet."
Yeah.
That was something that was bestowed upon them after the fact. But so Grandma TCF made a good point. She said, "You've got parents today that don't parent. My child can do no wrong," and that is so very true.
Too.
Yeah, one of the things that I wrote a piece. This is about 20 years ago now. That I wrote to my 3 oldest children, and it was titled, "Dear children, you're not special," and then in parentheses I put "yet," and I explained how just because you exist does not inherently make you something that's super special. You're not the center of the universe. You're not the greatest thing since sliced bread and the hula hoop. What you are is basically, especially as a child, you're a piece of Play-Doh that can be molded into something super special, or you can be a disaster. But it's how you grow, it's how you develop, it's what you do with your life that will determine whether or not you are special. But with so many children for so long now, we've just kind of had this, "Oh, Johnny, you're just the greatest thing in the world. You're special. And oh, by the way, I'm your best friend, and you're my best friend too." And there's no parenting, there's no accountability, and now all of a sudden we've got these generations in court that
A lot of hand
are a
holding.
mess.
Yeah, a lot of hand holding. A lot of. I know as a young child you have to have your hand held and stuff, but where is that? Where is that line where you break that hand holding and have them own up to what they're doing too? As I think
Early
lost
on, in
upon
my
us.
opinion.
Mhm.
They have to. I think accountability has to start very early on. Obviously, for
Agreed.
small things when they're a child, you know. But
And my dad's expression was, "Yeah, you're special, just like everybody else." You know, it's one of those things where,
Right.
yeah, you know, yeah, everybody is special in their own way, but that's kind of like what everybody else is. I mean, we're all, you know, we all have our unique traits, but we shouldn't be lofting ourselves above anybody else. I don't know. The basic humility is, and you know, this, we get into the rabbit hole, deeper philosophical stuff here on Sidebar from time to time. But I mean, because what we're talking about here, about decorum and about humility and about being humble, I mean, this doesn't just apply to the court. I mean, this applies to life in general. I mean, this is just a basic human condition that if more people did that, you know, I think it was the case, we were talking about this on our chat about the case from Judge Middleton's court.
You're right.
And this is the case, it's up on the channel right now, and it's about neighbors that can't seem to get along. And we've seen
I haven't
a
watched
thousand.
that one yet.
Bailey, I mean,
It's good.
it's 56 minutes of Judge Middleton not wanting to be there.
I can't wait. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
and he hates these kinds of cases. And this is what inspired me to kind of just think, you know, a topic for tonight about our least favorite kinds of cases. But for Judge Middleton, obviously, neighbor disputes are one of his least favorite kinds of things to
He
litigate.
knows everyone. Yeah.
Well, especially there, yeah, because he's
Yeah.
in St. Joseph County, which is tiny. It's what, 60,000 people live in that county, I think, or something. And everybody knows everybody.
Life there and yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
And when you know everybody, and you know, it's one of those things when it's a small community, it's more paramount than ever to get along with your neighbors. And you know, especially Dan and I were kind of going back and forth on the whole, like, this is a case that if just people had some communication skills, sat down, talked it out, and they just resolved themselves to not be asses.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing would have never happened, or it would have been snuffed out very quickly. But then, you know, what happens is, yeah, people have too much pride. They don't swallow the pride. They don't go, hey man, you know what? You're right. You know what? Maybe I damaged your fence. Maybe I didn't. Even if they did, you know what? I'll tell you what, man, we're neighbors. Let's just try to figure this out. Let's try to resolve the case. Let's try to get everything taken. Yeah. But yeah, just take the high road.
Yeah.
Because, okay, it's like, dude, you know what? You're right. I'll tell you what. I'm going to take the high road on it. And then if someone wants to continue to be unreasonable, then what you do is you just don't talk to them. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
well,
No, the best
There are
$5
crazies.
legal fee I ever paid. I went to an attorney on the last show. We discussed that. I visited an attorney. We had a 40-minute meeting. It's the best $85 of legal advice I've ever gotten, and it was basically like, dude, you've got a case. We could totally go, and I will defend you, and we've got a case. Or you could do this easy thing, and it doesn't do anything, and just walk away, and everybody's happy. And I was like, you know what? And I like brought a stack of papers. Like I brought the case. Like I'm like ready to
I
go.
can
And,
imagine.
and then he was like, dude,
shocker.
this is actually really good. That he's like, I've never had a client come in actually with all their ducks in a row, and you do, and you have a case, but just do this. And I happily paid that $85. I knew it was paying probably lunch for the entire office, but I happily paid that $85, and then it was the best lesson, and it was a really good experience with that. But.
That's fair.
$85 lunch for the office. What is this, 1971?
I mean,
Right?
he had like, I don't know, you can cater. You can get like some subs for like a bunch of people. 85
get like
bucks.
3 subs for $85.
Don't
Have you
know.
looked at prices lately?
Yeah, with
Hey.
a coupon, Michael.
Yeah.
This was like way pre-COVID, so
$85 foot long. Yeah, I mean, man.
$85.
Yeah, inflation might. You know, it's weird. By the time people watch this, I'm sure $85 will be the price of a foot long. I mean,
Well,
we're rapidly headed to that.
This is a bit of a side quest now, but I'm sure you guys have seen, or if not, you'll go guffaw. What is this all about? But the like apps like DoorDash and stuff like that, you can now pay by Klarna. So split
can make
split
payment
your
plans.
split your Subway into 3 easy payments. It's a thing. You can do that. now.
Oh no!
Yeah. Oh yes.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's the dumbest thing
Put a
ever.
down payment on my Culvers. Like,
Well, I have this much of credit left. I need to pull it over to next month.
put a second mortgage down just so I can get some Pizza Hut.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear the last 45 seconds. We're gonna strike that from the record. That's what my brain's telling me. Like, I don't even want to know that knowledge anymore. Just rip that out of my head.
Yeah.
Oh, things are a little sideways. But so
PSA,
so the,
don't do that, people.
yeah, So the Judge Middleton case, I guess this is a good kind of way to bridge into the other things. So
Yes.
I don't know about you guys. I don't know what your least favorite cases to watch. Maybe you don't have any. Maybe every single case you see it's like children. You can't possibly have a favorite or a least favorite. You love them all equally. But
Wrong. Wrong. You're wrong. Nobody ever wants to admit it. You have favorites.
right.
Anyways, continue.
I know who Dan's favorite is. I know. It's Ellie. We know that.
Well, don't tell the others.
No, but really, so Dan, what is your least or some of your least favorite kinds of cases to watch?
I think the top of my list will be the ones that involve young people that have already thrown it away. So you get somebody in that 17,
Yeah.
18, 19-year-old bracket who they're up there because they murdered somebody or they assaulted somebody in a very personal way or something like that. I mean, not the ones who are there because there's a traffic violation, but we see it quite often. These young guys, especially in Texas, I've seen a rash of 17-year-olds who are in there on first and second degree felonies.
It was just in Judge Stevens' court the other day.
Yep.
17-year-old.
And in Texas at 17, they're going as an adult.
Yep.
And I hate that. It's at that point, at that age, you don't even realize what your potential is yet, and it's all gone.
Yeah.
I hadn't even
obviously
thought
because
of
what I
that.
do here, I run a courtroom channel, so I mean, I see this stuff, I deal with it, I make videos on it where appropriate, but if there's something that saddens me, it's definitely that one. And there's just way too much of it. But that kind of goes back to what we were talking about a couple of minutes ago about how these people are being raised and how they're not given values and accountability and stuff like that, and then next thing you know, they're in court and they don't even realize that they need to be serious about it, and their life's gone.
Dan, I hadn't even thought about that kind of a case. Really, I mean, I that one is that's a really interesting answer.
I mean, it's not a specific charge. It's
Right.
But it's that type of case, the ones that involve really young people.
Serious felonies, yeah.
Yep. Because that's potential that's gone. If there's ever a true waste of life, it's that. And I probably view it that way because I've talked about this in the pre-show. I don't think I've ever talked about it in the in a live format that's public. But I grew up in my high school with a couple of guys, and one of them was my doubles partner when I played tennis my freshman year. And at age 19, they were both finding themselves in prison. And my doubles partner was a smart guy. He was actually an exchange student his junior year. I mean, everything to live for. His father was a doctor, a heart surgeon, so the family had money. The other guy, he was messy, but long story short, they both got into drugs. They ran out of money. They decided one day that it would be a great idea to go rob their drug dealer. And my former doubles partner waited out in the car. This other kid and somebody else who I didn't know ran in and decided to kill the drug dealer and rob him that way. And they all got caught up in it and ruined their lives. The other two, the one that I knew, his name was Heath, and the other guy, I have no idea what his name was. They got life without parole. Rob was the name of my doubles partner. Rob talked, so he got to make a deal for armed robbery, was given 15 to 30. He was paroled after 8, but a few years later, he found himself dead. They were very hush-hush about it, but I believe he went back to drugs and OD'd. But, I mean, 3 young guys with really
That's
everything to look forward to.
Yeah, it's really sad.
And it's all gone. In the case of Rob, he's gone. He's dead.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the case of the other two, they're never getting out. All they know, really, in their life is prison.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean,
I can see how that could be very bothersome, especially given that. Yeah.
I think that's why I was getting emotional earlier, because I also remember being in my principal's office and vice principal's office a couple times, and the vice principal but he was doing the right thing. He was doing the right thing because he wants to make sure that when I go out there, I'm not going to be a knucklehead. Mm-hmm. He was doing his job, and I thought he was being so I applaud that. And so I guess my biggest thing was like, we're kind of missing community. I think that's what we're talking about when we're talking about these kinds of cases, and like we're kind of missing something here. Like, I was lucky. I had all of the support to avoid me becoming a statistic or one of those people. And oh, by the way, I'll be out there. Yeah, I violated the law and I could have gotten caught, and my life could be completely different right now if I had gotten busted about some things. I certainly wouldn't have this job, my day job.
You probably wouldn't have this job either.
Yeah,
exactly. And I probably wouldn't know you. Like, everything, my entire life would have been different if the simple, stupid mistake, not choices, excuse me. Sorry, Judge Boyd. I totally could have gotten wrapped up in that. And so when I watch these cases, these hearings, a show, I'm not watching it with glee. I'm watching it with like, man, that really could have been you. And you don't want that to ever become you, do you? And you are so lucky that you had a good support system coming up and people around you, and like a probation officer, like, his name was Star. And oh, by the way, the reason why I always think of him is when the song Turn the Page comes on from Bob Seger.
Oh, God.
Playing Star again, Turn the Page. I love that song. I mean, it's not my favorite song, but every time I hear it, it's like, you turn the page on a mistake, and now you have to do things better. And just get over it. And so anytime that comes on the radio, I always think about Star. I think about where I've gotten from and where I could have been. I could have been on TCF as a defender.
One day we'll do our least favorite songs. But anyway,
I'm not about
for Bailey, it could have been Sidebar behind bar. He could have been joining us from his cell. So I'm glad it worked out, Bailey. I'm glad that you got the that small kick in the butt, I guess. So it worked out.
Well, we used to have family and community that would do that, and now Now we've
Well,
got
now you
families-
can't
now-
do it because people
No.
get mad if you try to do that. Because everybody has to have a safe space and everybody has to have you can't correct people because everybody gets to be a free spirit, or else you're misappropriating culture, or you're stifling their creativity, or you're whatever the terms are these days. Whatever the terms are these days, these young punks, I don't understand none of it. But whatever it is, I don't know. We just don't seem to do that anymore. Or people just don't want to get involved. I don't know. Maybe there's a little combination platter of all of the above.
I don't know. Like when I was in college here, I was an older student, so I was surrounded by 16, 17, 18-year-olds. And I was mostly impressed by them in class and their insight, and it was really fun. I loved college. But they're knuckleheads. They are kind of they're not like how we were or I was growing up. Like one example comes to mind is we had an English professor she had to use one of those powered wheelchairs, and there's elevators on the campus, and it's a small campus where I went, and I always take the stairs. It's easier. I'm not going to wait for an elevator. I've never ridden an elevator when I was there all 4 years. But all of these 16 able-bodied people were piling into an elevator to go up one flight of stairs, and my professor was trying to get in there. I wanted to intervene so badly and just go in there like, guys, there's a reason why there's elevators here. It's not because, like, take the stairs. You can take the freaking stairs. This is here for her. And you're, like, I just was like, oh, these young, oh, my God. Bailey, just get to class. Just
I can
don't
see
lose-
Bailey doing that. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Story checks out.
Oh, so
Yeah.
they're knuckleheads and they're airheads, and so
Yeah.
it does not surprise me when somebody comes in and they're like wearing a stupid T-shirt. They're like,
So Bailey, least favorite kinds of cases for you?
the ones where I get impatient are the hearings where the defendant's just not listening, or there's not listening in the parties. In all parties, because I get frustrated with that, especially with the defendant. Like the judge is actually taking the time to explain, and you can tell, like, even though the defendant might be quiet, but you can tell he's not really listening. He's already thinking about the next thing he wants to say or she wants to say. You know what I mean? Those are incredibly frustrating, and I have to sit there and watch the judge. And Simpson's really good about this. He is patient, and then he kind of does. He'll end it when he needs to end it, but then there's other judge like ponytail judge. Is that Middleton?
Middleton.
Yeah, Milton.
He has so much patience that I'm like, oh my god, like
Patience is a virtue, Bailey.
You'll see
I'm
that in
not-
that video, Bailey.
You
I
will.
guess
You have to watch. It is remarkable.
That's why I didn't pick on it today. Well, first off, I was busy with my day job, but I was like, it was an hour long, and I was like, oh, and it's
Yeah.
Middleton too, and I'm like, oh no, this is gonna have to be later. This is gonna be tonight. This is gonna be later. But yeah, but I appreciate that because you get to understand. You know, he's really digesting that. But those are the hearings that I get. Kind of, so I guess I'm gonna get frustrated
Multiple
tonight.
times in the video, though, he does say, I don't want to be here.
I don't want to be
He
here.
says that.
Yeah,
And
multiple times.
One of the
I don't want-
sides he knew them from church, so he's
Yeah.
like, he's like friends with them.
He's
And he's even
known them
telling
for
his
like
friends, "I don't wanna
50
be here."
years. Yeah.
Somebody say he rides a Harley as well, like he's a bike rider or something, or not a
Yeah.
Harley, it's something else.
Or a
Middleton,
like a
he
motorbike.
rides a Schwinn.
Yeah.
So this guy, he's a cool dude. He's a cool cat. I mean,
No, a
you
Schwinn
know.
like a bicycle,
Yeah.
not a
Yeah.
motorcycle.
Oh, I thought he was a. Oh, okay.
No, like bike, like BMX, Schwinn, whatever.
To me,
Yeah.
it went with the ponytail. I was like, oh, that makes sense. He's a motorcycle rider. Okay. All right.
Nope.
I
No,
thought he
bicycle.
was like a motorbiker. Okay.
Well, I'm
Is-
glad we cleared that up.
Yeah,
So
me too.
Ashley, least
That's embarrassing.
least favorite kind of cases, Ashley.
Landlord tenant and property disputes.
Oh, stole my answer basically.
Sorry.
I mean, Well, yeah, I mean, landlord-tenant is probably my number one least favorite because half of the time they're boring. Now, there are occasions where they're interesting and you get into the weeds, but then the problem with that is then you think, man, are all landlords scumbags?
Right.
And or are all people just looking to be squatters? Like, that's the other thing is landlord tenant half the time makes me go, geez, how many grifters are there in the world? Like, it kind of gives you an even, I almost would rather watch murder cases because sometimes someone could at least argue self-defense or there's like a reasonable argument sometimes. Landlord tenant, neither side ever looks reasonable.
No.
Even when they're not dreadfully dull. Yeah.
Yeah. And also it was part of my past profession too. So it's something I have little tolerance for just because I've heard so many excuses for 9 years that I can't hold any more excuses from either side very much. So I have a hard time with landlord tenant. And with property disputes, I don't like disputes in general. I usually like to be the fair one, but in property disputes, those can be very hairy and very
very technical.
Yeah, it's in technical, right? There's a lot of details like that.
Well, I have an easement, and then there's this easement, and then there's this. But the property line, we had an assessor come out and they noted that the property line should actually be 6 inches to the west. But then there's an easement. Then you can't put a tree here because of the zoning. It's like, oh my God. I like Judge Middleton. I don't want to be here. Like I see that. Oh, and then I guess.
Especially if I know the person, like that's a done deal for me. Like I'm not going to be presiding over your case. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the only other kind of case that just really drives me bonkers, for a completely different reason, is any of these child abuse, child, underage stuff, and not because they're boring cases. I mean, they're not. A lot of the times the details but it's I see them and I think. Again, it kind of gives you this view of humanity. How many of these people are out here? We're watching. So Judge Boyd, that's San Antonio, and this is one court, the 187th District Court. We're watching one court on one day, and there's 3 or 4 of these kind of people. And then we go over to Judge Stevens, and there's 1 or 2 of them in there. And this is just in the 3-hour time span we're watching here on TCF. And then there's Judge West, and there's a couple there, and then there's, then we'll go up to Judge Elmore, we go over to, the different judges we watch, which is a select few from a select few parts of the country, and on a given day, there's 10, 12, 15 of those in just those small or relatively small areas. So I'm thinking, man, how many of those people are out there? They're all innocent until proven guilty and all of that, right. Presumption of innocence. But if even half of them are guilty, like it's a staggering number. And then it kind of makes you go, man, what's going on? The
last statistic I read, Michael, was that 11 out of 10 people are in that group. I mean, it certainly
people not even born yet.
It's like all we see.
It just seems, and maybe it's because those cases hit harder, and maybe it's because it's more of a hot button for me because I'm like, man, we talk about it all the time, but the lack of the ability to rehabilitate people like that, and not just underage, but even just child abusers in general, like those kind of cases are just. For a completely different reason, they're just brutal, and again, I'd rather just watch a classic theft by snatching case or some other. I'd rather just watch any of the, and again, it's not that there's not intrigue. It's just, it's uncomfortable. It's frustrating, listening to the defense attorneys and especially when they admit guilt. I mean, that's the thing too. It's like they admit guilt, but then there's like a justification, like, yeah, but and like these, these teacher cases, which we don't really see too much of here on TCF, but outside of TCF, you may find this hard to believe, but here in around here at Studio B, Michelle and I definitely see quite a few other, legal cases. And lately, a lot of stuff that's come up on our social feeds is stuff about teachers doing stuff. And man, you see that and it's like, how and why does this keep happening? And it's just, and the justifications are weird. They admit guilt and they're like, yeah, but the kid led me on, or it's like, yeah, but those aren't really my text messages. The dog ate my homework, whatever. I don't know. There's all sorts of justifications, and it's just, that's the kind of stuff that drives me crazy. That's for sure. But all of you guys, I mean, I agree with all of yours too. Dan, especially, like, yeah, wasted youth is one of those, I think those are maybe not the worst for me to watch, but they definitely are the most sad.
Impactful.
Yes, very much so.
Well, next to the, what you mentioned, Michael. So, yeah, that's impactful too. But I think both of those two are pretty impactful. Landlord tenant, I mean, people just move on and move on with their lives, but there's some things that you have a hard time moving on with.
I think the other thing that I have a hard time watching is the people that have been in jail or prison for 20 years, and then they find out that they were innocent, and then they're, the painstaking process of getting them out. And I mean, it's a feel-good story, don't get me wrong. I like that part of it, but the fact that they were in there in the first place, and then the process to get them out, and basically the court just goes, yeah, well, you're out. Hey, man, court's apologies. Sorry, man. Cool. Anyway.
I would think that would be really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, the world's changed a little bit now. Eggs cost you need to take out a mortgage for eggs. Bye. What?
I hear you can put them on installments now.
Yeah, it's $85 footlongs. Bye. Enjoy.
Yes, Klarna to the rescue.
Klarna.
That's a pretty, yeah. I haven't thought about that in detail, Michael. That's interesting you brought that up. I think that's pretty sad too.
Yeah, I mean, there's, it's court. Obviously, there's a lot of drama, and there's a lot of intrigue, and there's sadness, and there's all sorts of emotions that are involved. But some of those cases, that's for me, that's always the ones that get me. So every time there's someone that thinks they're the prophet of God, that to me is just. It's a nice funny comic relief. Yeah, I enjoy that. I enjoy that somebody, the world's greatest farter, or someone that just walks in with, I'm with stupid or whatever, and it just points to themselves. I mean,
I'm reminded of that one guy. Remember, it was a quick hearing in Judge Simpson's court, and remember I said I got veteran vibes from him, and he came in wearing half his pants.
Oh, yep.
And he was a pro se guy, and it was a quick hearing, and it had something to do with his driver's license, and there was a technicality, and they realized the prosecution kind of messed something up, and the pro se defendant worked with the state before he approached, and they figured this kind of thing out, this error, and got the case dismissed, and he got his license back so he could be a CDL driver again. And it was 8 minutes, and I'm like, okay, there's a value to knowing how to carry yourself, communicate, respect the courts. And the reason why he was wearing half his pants, he had to go to work right after court. And I mean, I guess he could have put his pants on in the truck or something, or, but give the man a break. And it was over a driver's license.
Yeah.
But he was respectful to the judge. He was very clear cut and spoke. And I was just like, yeah, this guy's on point. What's going to happen with this? And 8 minutes later, it was solved. And Judge Simpson was laughing that, hey, man, sorry you had to come in here. But,
I think we all agreed before the show as well that the SovSit cases are They're probably up there in the frustrating in the frustrationometer. They're definitely up here somewhere.
I don't know how I would handle that as a judge. I think I would be losing my patience because I'm not a very patient man. That's one of my flaws in my life, and I'm working on being more patient. Because like if I see a problem, I want to fix it as quickly as possible. You know what I mean? Like I want to have the conversation quickly. Like let's just figure this out. And so sometimes when I have to sit there watching Simpson, who's like doing this,
he's just got his head. Wait.
And then he'll go back like this, and he's letting that person talk.
Yeah.
Like, oh my.
He'll sit back and
I'm
give them the rope to hang themselves.
I'm like taking notes while I'm watching TCF. I'm like, this is how you be patient with people. Like,
yeah.
Listen to them,
I mean,
let
that's
them
why
get
you
it
should
off
watch
their
this
chest.
Judge Middleton case. It'll frustrate you, but it'll teach you patience. That is for sure.
Yeah. Oh my
Because
goodness.
judgment, despite the fact he doesn't want to be there, and it looks like he wants to just throw stuff on his desk at these litigants, he doesn't. He just, because the guy, I mean, I don't know.
Children, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how he kept his cool because the whole
I don't
thing,
either.
The whole
I
thing
can't wait to
came
watch
down
this.
to a 6-inch strip of grass, an aluminum fence, and a cemetery plot.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
all.
and
That's all
neighbors,
that's involved.
and neighbors who over those few things could not get along so badly that there was security cameras put everywhere.
Yeah, they point, and then they lied about. They're like, "Oh, we
Yes.
just have him out there to watch for deer."
Yes.
Yeah, that's
He's
why you have
trespassing on my lawn.
4 HD 4K cameras that are pointed.
I cannot wait.
We have proximity detectors, Judge. We've installed a laser tracking system, and we have automated drones that fly 24/7, Judge.
And the roundup.
What would have been
There's no trip
Doing
lines.
my plans with the roundup.
what would have been hilarious is if they were streaming those cameras on YouTube.
I would,
man.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They can go syndicate. That would work. Yeah.
You's on my property, boy. I saw you at 6:37 and 19 seconds. I done saw you. You took one step on my property. Luckily, you didn't hit the landmine.
For those of you listening and watching who are interested in this case that we're talking about, I just dropped the link to it in the chat. So
It's
you
there.
can check that out after
there.
this. It is a
I'll be
shake
watching
your head
with
kind of case. For
It
sure.
is. And
A
the
different
sad
kind
thing
of
is,
frustrating.
I have seen Middleton preside over other cases like that, and he's lost his temper a little bit in some of the other cases, which is hard to imagine from him, but he actually has, because they get even more petty. I mean, that one was petty, very petty, but I've seen it worse, like super petty. Dare I even say Tom Petty? It's
I was
just
thinking Manny
absolutely
Dare we not
Manny
say-
Petty.
Dare we not say Bob Seger? It's not going to be Bob Seger for sure.
I like Bob's. I want to make this very clear. I like Bob Seger. Just Turn the Page is just one of those songs that for me, I don't know.
It's a
you can ask
cliche
anybody.
kind of song. I'm not saying
I don't know
love
why
it
I
and
hate it.
pick it out. I'm just saying, like when it comes on and I hear it, I'm like, oh, it makes me think.
Night
about
Moves
it.
is great. Against the Wind.
Night Moves,
No, I
mean,
understand your
I
connection to it,
understand
Bailey.
why
I'm
you
not.
like Night Moves because that goes exactly with what the little prosecutor we were talking about earlier. Because
Don't bring that up.
Bailey getting out the stick just to stir it a little bit more.
Ashley,
If you want to know
Ashley-
what we're talking about, watch the live show.
Yeah, watch TCF Live.
Ashley,
Weekdays.
how did I
But
do
watch it
connecting-
tomorrow when the chat. Well, no, you can watch it tonight because those
Yeah,
chats are
I
on
got it.
screen.
Okay.
So.
There's a prosecutor, or not there was a lawyer
prosecutor.
that showed up. No, she wasn't. I don't think she was prosecutor. She was.
She was
She
defense.
worked for
Was
yeah.
it
She
defense? Oh,
yeah.
Doesn't matter. She's an attorney.
And she's an attorney. She worked for Waste something. I don't remember. And
She had a
yeah.
beautiful background. She had a beautiful background.
She
a beautiful
did.
Office, corner office with. The
Is that
trees
what
in the
we're calling
background.
it? A beautiful background?
She had a very nice personality.
There was very nice peaks in the background. She had trees in the background. There was 5 trees,
oh no.
and
Bailey counted.
It's getting worse.
And she was
People said I was bad.
but she was dressed appropriately for court. I don't know.
Sorry, Grandma TCF.
Debatable.
But it involved a beautiful background. It was an awesome office. Had nothing to do with the attorney. How she was dressed for court.
That's right.
Nothing.
She
Yeah,
had a very professional blazer on. The question was, what was underneath the blazer?
A camisole.
She looks very
That's
healthy.
generous.
She looked very healthy.
Maybe.
She had a very healthy. She looked healthy.
Well,
More
maybe
like a
the
lady to me. But
maybe the
Desire.
cat got a hold of the rest of it.
She might have had to push up something, maybe too. I don't know.
I don't know.
Tell.
I don't know. Again, it goes back to decorum. Again, lawyers. I mean, maybe that's a good strategy, though. I don't know.
I don't know why I was mostly distracted by the beautiful view in the background, but I'm a little different than you guys.
Well,
I wasn't distracted quite as you guys were.
I wasn't distracted.
with her
I was trying to work,
I was
but
distracted by what she was doing. She kept on trying to pull it up. I was like,
see, it wasn't just me that. No, it's weird though. It was weird. It wasn't just me that noticed that she had basically
on the
nothing
camera.
on under
turn
the.
off your camera if you're going to do that. And
Yeah,
into your bosoms.
Yeah, it was like, yeah. It's there's a couple of mountains, there's a couple of peaks and valleys on the screen. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
The sad thing was I was looking at another feed trying to figure out where we were going to go to next, and I glanced down at the chat and I'm like, oh no. And then I looked down the screen and
What did Michael do?
I just want to point out, I was only the first for whatever reason, the blind guy was the first person to notice, and I'm not even sure why that is.
Your vision problems are selective, aren't they?
I noticed, but
And then-
it was a little bit after Michael.
Yeah, as soon as I brought it up, then the chat just went, "Hey, how about that? Hey, look at those trees back there."
Well, I noticed
Trees
right
are
away,
obvious.
and I was like,
Trees.
I noticed right away, and I was like, nobody's gonna say anything. Nobody's gonna say anything. And then
Nobody,
Michael comes screaming in the chat, and I do the emoji.
The only thing I said, I want to make this very clear. The only thing I said that got it started, okay, was I just said, I said something like, cleavage attorney has entered the room or something like that.
You
That's
did
it.
say that, yeah.
And then it just spilled over from there. No, it went crazy from there. And again, decorum. Hello. And then Ashley's like, yeah, she just keeps putting it in the camera. It was like, dude. And then she went off the screen.
And then she was.
And we thought, and Ashley, or maybe it was Carissa, or somebody in the chat goes, "Oh, I'm sure she's covering up now." And
It was probably Carissa.
yeah, and Bailey's like, "Yeah, for sure. There's no way she comes back looking like that." And then she came back, worse, I think. I was like, "Well, all right."
I was like, maybe somebody said something to her to like cover up or something. And
I was like, I thought maybe Judge McNally went to, maybe he accidentally opened the stream for Sugar 44 or one of those other places.
Oh, I made the point that attorney was probably simulcasting onto OnlyFans.
See, even Dan got into it. Everybody blames me, but
no,
look,
it was
it's a live show.
Sorry.
Have some fun.
Once I know,
And you got a shout out
safe,
off of it, Michael, so
Yeah, once I knew it was safe and you guys were making the good jokes, I was like, oh, I can have fun with this. I can run with this. Yep. All right. Now.
And everybody did.
And we did. Great. All right. It was a good show. Yeah, great show.
Especially the females. I'd laugh.
All right, well, this highbrow place seems like a good spot to end it for tonight.
Yeah.
Because we just kind of circled right back around into decorum and probably lost it a little bit ourselves. So
sure,
yeah,
perfect.
That's what we do.
Bailey, final thoughts for the night?
Z Trevera, do not pick up any cases. Z Trevera's watching right now and has been in the chat. And for everyone listening, don't pick up any cases because you just might be on Sidebar.
Maybe. Ashley?
Respect goes a long way. Please do not. If you think something is inappropriate or something, you're probably right. So don't do it. Be respectful of others.
And Michael?
I mean, just stay out of landlord-tenant court, please. That's all. Avoid that.
Try to pay your rent.
And
Yeah.
ZT Rivera says she has to go to court on 8/22. So, good luck.
Oh, no. I'm sorry to hear that. Or maybe,
Well,
Sorry,
hopefully it all
ZT.
works out.
There.
yeah, let us know how it goes.
All right, friends. I think we had fun tonight. Good
I think
conversation
so.
as always. So we should probably do it again next Tuesday.
Yep.
Yes.
8 p.m. Eastern,
Dan,
5
thank you
p.m.
so much.
Oh, no. Thank you, guys. This
Yeah,
I've
thank
said
you,
it
Dan.
before. This show was not my idea. It was your idea. So, and I'm just happy to provide a space for it and hang out with some friends. So it's always good.
It's always
Speaking
fun.
of hanging out with friends, we'll do that again tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. If you're a channel member, you get to join us a half an hour early. If you're not a channel member, what's your excuse? It's a whole $2.99 a month. So just stop it and become a channel member.
That's right.
But yeah, we had fun. We'll see you again tomorrow morning for the live show and next Tuesday for this show. In the meantime, take care. God bless.
See y'all
I know.
later.